This is Manish Yadav, and today we will discuss about fourth chapter of class ninth. This chapter has been taken from Beehive, a truly beautiful mind. As we have gone through the summary of this chapter, the narrator talks about a genius, a scientist whose name is, what is the name? Einstein. Einstein and his childhood, what happened with him when he was in his academic days, what was his activity and reaction for his subject teachers, and discipline at school. Einstein doesn't like to be disciplined and abide by rules and regulations. He always wants to be free, and he always likes liberty, freedom. Sometimes he has hot talk with his subject teachers. Even he fought with his principal as well. What happened further, what decision he took for the betterment of his life, let you know going through this chapter. First of all, before you read, some questions have been given at the very beginning of this chapter. Why do you think of, or who do you think of, when you hear the word genius? I mean, what type of personalities come to your mind when you hear the word genius? Excellent. A genius guy. Who is a genius? What qualities do you think a genius has? I mean to say that when you hear this word, whom do you imagine, picturize in your mind? Do you think about your father? Do you think about an animal? Do you think about a vehicle? What do you think and who do you think when you hear this word? Genius. Especially, what qualities do you think a genius has? How does he look like? What qualities does he has? This is the question to all the readers. So especially I would like to clear the answer of this question. A genius can do extraordinary activities. He can do something different rather than others. He can use his mind differently. You know, he does always different. He does always challenging, which is not easy and normal to achieve for others. A genius guy can achieve that much. For example, the reaction that he gave to the people of the world couldn't be given by others. There are so many people live in this country. They live, but they are not equal. They are not same. They do not have the same potency and ability of brain. They can't think equally. They can't achieve equally. But the person who is different than others and he thinks, you know, higher and higher, is known as genius. He can make anything possible. Now, we shall now read about a young German civil servant who took the world by storm about 100 years ago. We are going to have, you know, a biography of a gentleman. In the summer of 1905, the 26-year-old published in quick succession four groundbreaking papers about light, the motion of particles, the electrodynamics of moving bodies, and energy. His work took up only a few pages in scientific journals, but changed forever our understanding of space, time, and the entire cosmos, and transformed the name Einstein into a synonym of genius. In this chapter, we are going to study and know about the achievements of Einstein, what he did, what he achieved. He changed the world by his admirable works and efforts. It was not a normal situation when he worked for electrodynamics of moving bodies, robot you can say, energy and motion of particles, light, these all. 50 years after his death, Albert Einstein's genius still reigns, rule over the world. He has gone to the pavilion, you can say he is no more. After 50 years, his death, Albert Einstein rules over the world. His achievements, his invention still rules over the world. And we study. There are so many mediums like books, magazines. We study Albert Einstein and his achievements. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879, okay, in German city of Ulm, without any indication that he was destined for greatness. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. To her, his head seemed much too large. Albert Einstein, when was he born? He was born on 14th of March 1879, where German city of Ulm, without any indication that he was destined for greatness. On the contrary, I mean, when he was born, his mother understood him as a freak, a word used to disapprovingly to talk about a person who is unusual and doesn't behave, look, or like, think like others. Means different, completely different at the moment of his birth. I mean, his head was too large, as you can see on the screen. Why was he different at the moment of his birth? His head was looking too much large. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. Einstein was introvert until he was 2.5. Means 2.5 साल का जब था तब तक आइंस्टीन इंट्रोवर्ट था. He couldn't speak a single word. वो एक शब्द भी नहीं बोलता था. He uttered everything twice. And when he spoke, जब भी वो बोलता था तो वो हर चीज को दो बार बोलता था. Einstein did not know what to do with other children. And Einstein was completely different. He didn't know what to do with others. At his playmates called him boring, brother boring. Obviously, if we do not company, if we don't, understand the friendship and circle, we don't want to stay with others. We always like to stay alone. Other would think something strange about us. So Einstein doesn't know what to do with others, what is friendship, and many more. So other boys and classmates or playmates called him brother boring. Means they did not enjoy with Einstein. So the youngsters played by himself. Now, what happened next? Something has been given in this blue box. What is this? Otto Neugebauer, a historian of ancient mathematics, told, okay, the historian of ancient mathematics told a story about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend. Okay, prophecy, prediction, you can say. Some of the people who tells about someone's future. Okay, so same thing. A person told about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend. Legend means a famous person, but that seems fairly authentic. As he was a late talker, I mean his parents were worried. ये बताया गया था कि ये बहुत ही बड़ा इंसान बनेगा, लीजेंड है ये, ठीक है, लेकिन ऐसा लगता नहीं था क्योंकि बहुत कम बोलता था. उसके मम्मी पापा बड़े परेशान थे इस चीज से. एट लास्ट एट द supper table one night he broke his silence to say, उसने कहा, the soup is too hot, जो सूप है वो बहुत गर्म है. Greatly relieved, his parents asked why he had never said a word before. Before that moment, Albert Einstein didn't speak even a single word. It was the first time when he spoke something in front of, or in the presence of his parent. Albert replied because up to now everything was in order. Albert बोलता है कि अब सब कुछ ठीक है. That is why I am speaking. Now, let you go through the next page. Much of the time he especially loved mechanical toys. Albert likes to play with mechanical toys, looking at his newborn sister Maza. Okay, Albert Einstein had a sister, little sister, whose name was, Maza. Maza उस बच्ची का नाम होता है, and she was newly born. वो बहुत ही अभी छोटी बच्ची थी और हाल ही में पैदा थी. He is said to have said, वो कहने से नहीं रह पाया क्या, fine, but where are her wheels? उसके पहिए कहाँ हैं? बच्ची को जब उसने देखा, बहुत ही स्ट्रेंथ सा क्वेश्चन है कि ये चलेगी कैसे, इसके पहिए कहाँ हैं, है ना. A headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession would not matter. एक बार की बात है, हेडमास्टर ने उसके पापा से बताया कि आइंस्टीन क्या चुनता है, क्या प्रोफेशन चुनता है, ये मैटर नहीं करता, बिकॉज ही विल नेवर मेक अ सक्सेस एट एनीथिंग. क्योंकि आइंस्टीन अपने जीवन में कभी भी सफल नहीं हो सकता. हो सकता है हेडमास्टर गलत थे, क्योंकि आइंस्टीन, अल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन ने जो करके दिखाया, इट इज एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी, इट इज एडमायरेबल, जिसका कोई यू नो जवाब नहीं. फैंटास्टिक, अनबिलीवेबल, अनथिंकेबल. लेकिन हेडमास्टर की बात बिल्कुल गलत आज साबित हुई. Einstein became learning to play the violin at the age of 6. Einstein 6 साल के थे तभी वायलिन बजाना शुरू कर दिए. Because his mother wanted him to be, क्योंकि उनकी माँ ये चाहती थी that he must learn violin, how to play with violin. Later he became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. और वो अपने लाइफ में इस स्किल को मेंटेन करते हुए एक वायलिनिस्ट बन गए. ही बिकेम अ प्लेयर ऑफ वायलिन, डूइंग समथिंग फॉर पर्सनल एंजॉयमेंट रादर देन एज अ प्रोफेशन. अमेचर, वो अपने स्वयं के प्लेजर के लिए, खुशी के लिए वायलिन बजाते थे. एंड ही लाइक्स इट टू मच, और वो बहुत पसंद भी करते थे इसको. Now we are going through fourth paragraph. Before going through it, let me erase these underlines. But Albert Einstein was not a bad people. He was not a bad student. He went to high school in Munich. He completed his education from there, where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old. Okay? When he was 15 months old, his family moved and he scored good marks in every subject. Einstein scored good marks, satisfactory in every subject. Einstein hated the school's regimentation. At the beginning, I told you that Albert Einstein doesn't like the rules and regulations, regimentation. चीज़ें उनको नहीं पसंद थी and often clashed with his teachers. और वो अक्सर झगड़ा भी कर जाते थे. At the age of 15, Einstein felt so stiff-legged, unable to breathe and suffocated there that he left the school for good. And when it happened with him, he left the school for his betterment. अपने अच्छे के लिए उन्होंने स्कूल छोड़ दिया. आगे क्या होता है, लेट यू नो. The previous year, Albert's parents had moved to Milan and left their son with relatives. अल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन को छोड़ दिया गया रिश्तेदारों के साथ और उनके जो पेरेंट थे अल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन के, वो मिलन चल गए. हाँ, मिलन चले गए. एंड आफ्टर प्रोलॉन्ग्ड डिस्कशन, बड़े लंबे समय के बाद, आइंस्टीन गॉट हिज विश टू कंटिन्यू हिज एजुकेशन इन जर्मन स्पीकिंग स्विट्जरलैंड विद इन अ सिटी विच वॉज मोर लिबरल दैन मुनिच. उन्होंने बड़े लंबे समय तक डिस्कशन करने के बाद उनकी इच्छा हुई कि वो लोगों के ओपिनियन को रिस्पेक्ट दें और स्विट्ज़रलैंड में जर्मन स्पीकिंग करते हुए अपने स्टडीज़ को कंटिन्यू रखें. He decided to get education over there and it was more liberal. I mean, willing to understand that respect others and opinions. Everything was good. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics. Einstein को मैथ्स में बहुत अच्छी जानकारी थी. Interested in physics, और वो फिज़िक्स में भी बड़ा इंटरेस्ट रखते थे. एंड आफ्टर फिनिशिंग स्कूल समाप्त होने के बाद he decided to study at university in Zurich. उन्होंने स्कूल की पढ़ाई समाप्त करने के बाद यूनिवर्सिटी इन ज़ुरिच में अपने स्टडीज़ को कंटिन्यू करने की इच्छा रखी. बट science was not the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with the Wallace mustache. Science was not only the thing. He was having a mustache. Okay. साइंस ही नहीं, ओनली थिंग दैट अपील टू द डैशिंग यंग मैन विद द वायरलेस मस्टैचो. सिर्फ वो साइंस ही नहीं बल्कि और भी कुछ चीज़ें थी जिनमें वो काफ़ी प्रोफाउंड थे. ठीक है, अब वो क्या चीज़ें थी, विल डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास बिकॉज टाइम इज़ ओवर. सो टिल दैट मोमेंट कीप learning and best of luck everyone.